Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boys CL Anthony and my main man Bryce Ward. What's going on, Bryce?
Well, same old as always. Sunday morning, we get to talk about some basketball, so I'm excited. How are you?
You, I'm great. You were supposed to say "living the dream," so I say it for you. We just living the dream, man. That's what we do.
It could be way worse, I'll admit.
You would say something years ago that makes sense. That we're lucky to be alive because we're on a rock that's hurling through space. So
Yep,
every day is a blessing, right?
every day. That's how I think of it.
So we had a little movement this week in the playoffs in the second half of the week. We had a little movement, as we turn towards the NBA playoffs. And I'm trying to pull up the standings right now. I'm having a hard time doing it. But Bryce, as of right now, a team that you and I picked at the beginning of the season to compete for an NBA title is not even in the play-in tournament. The Los Angeles Lakers are out right now. They are, let's see, a full game. Wow. A full game out of the play in behind the San Antonio Spurs, who owns their tiebreaker. In the last 10 games, the Lakers are 2-8. Bryce, we pivoted on the Lakers as far as winning the championship. We at least thought they were going to make it into the play in tournament and maybe give the Phoenix Suns a run for their money. How do you feel now about the Los Angeles Lakers potentially being out of the entirety of the NBA playoffs?
Um, it's a big surprise. Ooh, I guess the bigger surprise is it seems like some of these games could have went either way. And towards this part of the season, we thought if anything, the Lakers would have been able to put it together at least for this point. And I know Davis has been out for a while, but I mean LeBron's playing great basketball. I mean he's doing everything he can do. If that's not going to win them the game, they're not going to win the game right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's like we said the other day, this whole team needs to be gone because to have a team built with how we feel is like a lot of talent, a lot of playoff talent specifically. You can't even make it there. There's major issues, and at this point in LeBron's career, this is a major L. It's a
Hmm.
massive L. In terms of Laker legacy, this is a major L. There's a lot of legacy that took a hit with this season, and you can point the finger at whoever you want. We're not going to do that anymore because at this point it's kind of pointless. Um, so there's multiple issues there, from coaching to the way the team's built. So, like I said, it's a major disappointment. We were way off, as were, I'm sure, many people. So we got to take that L as well. But it's not like all our predictions were off. So, but that was the biggest surprise. I don't see them turning it around in any meaningful way soon. If they can somehow just get into the play-in, that doesn't guarantee anything either, because they've been taking L's against teams that are right there with them, and the other teams just they already look a little bit better. So, major disappointment. A lot of legacies taking L's this year, and we're wrong. So, yeah, I think a lot of people were wrong. So, it's a disaster of a season for the Lakers and LeBron for sure.
It's the worst case scenario.
Hmm.
The worst case scenario for a championship contender. And there was something that I think I sent it to you earlier in the week, and it kind of goes in with this conversation on this topic that we're having right now, where it showed the breakdown of LeBron James teams after he leaves. And the Brian Windhorst wrote it or said it, and he's followed LeBron since high school. And he wasn't saying it in a bad way, but he was saying that LeBron James is a team destroyer. So what he meant was when LeBron James is ready to leave a team, the team has no assets for the foreseeable future because they've used all those assets to, get vets there and make risky
Right.
risky trades. And Like the Lakers don't have a first round draft pick until 2025, I believe it is. It's either 2025 or 2027, which is absurd. Um, and we know that LeBron has 1 foot. Let's just be honest. He has 1 foot out the door. I didn't think it was possible when he first got there, but LeBron James has 1 foot out the door. Um, do you think it's possible that he forces his way out this offseason, considering the Lakers gave up everything to get Anthony Davis, even though they got one chip, to get Anthony Davis, to get Russell Westbrook, and it just did not work?
This off season, I mean, anything's a possibility with LeBron. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me because this season was so bad.
Mhm.
So I gotta get out of here. Um, and whether or not you want to blame him for the way the team is and what's left over afterwards, it's kind of like you have to pick your poison because you went down that path of signing LeBron James, and by this point, especially if you're the Lakers, you know what that means. You know what that means doing to your current roster and maybe your future roster. But they won
Mhm.
a championship. Even I know you wanted two or maybe even three somehow out of this, which seemed astronomical. But you did win a championship, so it worked. It's not a total loss or anything, but this season, like you said, is worst case scenario. Um, it wouldn't surprise me at all if LeBron found his way out this offseason. Because we've seen some odd situations in the last couple of seasons where people have left teams. This is LeBron James we're talking about, who can he can almost do whatever he wants to in the league at this point.
Yeah,
And let's be real, he can go to any team he wants. They'll find a way that you know he
yeah.
can do what he wants to. So it wouldn't surprise me. No, you
It
you
happened.
think he leaves?
Well,
I mean, this offseason. We know he's pretty much leaving,
he's
but do you
leaving.
think
Yeah,
it's this offseason?
I give it. I give it a 40% chance because it would have to be a sign of trade. He can't walk, and we have that Bronny thing looming down the road. Like if Bronny was going to be drafted this offseason, oh, he's gone. Like,
Mm.
he's absolutely gone. But the thing that was interesting that Windhorst brought up was outside of his first 8 years in Cleveland, Miami was 4 years and he was out. The return to Cleveland was 4 years and he was out. This is the fourth year for the Lakers.
Hmm.
And I always tell you that window is short. That window is always 3 to 4 years. So I think the writing's on the wall. Outside of trading Westbrook, which I think will be a hard trade outside of our friends down the road, wink wink,
Nope.
or trading Anthony Davis, which I just don't think they'll do yet. The Lakers can't do anything to get
Mm.
better. And LeBron's smart. He's a fucking prodigy. He knows that. And as bad as this year was, next year might be even worse because you're going to bring some more vets in on 1 year deals who will probably give you the same shit that Melo gave you this year, that Dwight Howard gave you this year. Like it's not a lot of help out there right now. It's not.
Mm.
You have to try to swing Westbrook or swing Davis, and I just don't know if they give up on Davis, and I don't know if anyone would take Westbrook. So
Right,
um,
right.
it is, man. It's gonna be tough, tough for the Lakers, man. It's gonna be tough. Yeah, I thought this roster would do better, and I was
Hmm.
wrong. I was definitely wrong. I give Kevin a shout out. Kevin was right in that sense because I absolutely Kevin knew it was going to be a disaster from jump, and I just thought I was like they're going to pull it together, and they were never able to. And now
Hmm.
making a play in is one thing. Potentially missing the play in is damning, especially like you said with the way that LeBron James has played. He's played at an MVP level for the duration of the season. So, and they still, to me, they still had enough to get it done. At least make the play in. So, moving right along, our favorite Nigerian, I think he's Nigerian, via Greece, Giannis. Some people wouldn't put Giannis as a top three player in the league. Coming off back to back NBA, or not back to back NBA MVP, but he's a two-time MVP and the defending NBA champion. Do you think Giannis is a top three NBA player right now?
Yes, I think you can make the argument.
Hmm.
And here, defense is one. Everyone that we talk about can score the basketball one way or another. There's only one guy besides Giannis who we've seen literally stop pretty much anybody he wanted to when he needed to win a championship. LeBron James and Giannis.
Hmm.
Giannis made some amazing plays last year defensively that nobody else, like literally nobody else, maybe LeBron James could have made. We saw LeBron James do it against Golden State, and then we saw Giannis do it last year. That's the biggest thing for me, and it's easy. A lot of people overlook it. They'll mention the defense and they'll mention what he can do, but then it seems like most people just want to talk about the offensive end. We don't see Kevin Durant do that when like a game is on the line. Not that he can't block shots and play some defense, but he's not known for that. Um, we don't see Jokic do it. He'll get a block or two or whatever, but he's not the guy. He's not physically fit enough to run down a player from half court from behind. He can't do that.
You are not
Okay,
gonna
let's be
fat
real.
shame. You are not gonna fat shame the reigning MVP on this podcast. We are not gonna do that. I'm a fat boy. I'm not gonna let you fat shame.
Embiid is the same way. He's a giant down in the post, but he isn't running with anybody. Not like that.
Yeah.
Giannis is a freak, and besides LeBron James, nobody else can do what he does on the defensive end. And LeBron probably can't do it anymore. Not like
No.
that.
No. 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 He can't.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
That is the biggest factor to me that puts Giannis up there. Is he has skill to some of these guys? Everyone's gonna say no, right?
Hmm.
But when push comes to shove, he won a championship without stars. He put his imprint all over the series. He drops 50. He barely misses any free throws, which are his quote unquote, like, problem. And it's a problem. I get it. But when it counted, it counted. And he made big defensive plays that nobody else in the league, nobody else is making. Gobert, he's not running people down like that, despite the blocks and despite what he does in the post. That's fine.
He's
Giannis
trash.
can do that too. I know
Yeah.
how you
Gobert's
feel about him.
trash.
But what
He's
I'm
so
talking
trash.
about defense. So to me, Giannis is so special on that end of the court, and he'll still drop 40 or 50 on you. It's just not because he's shooting the ball or you know what I mean? He's not as technical as the other guys. Doesn't matter. 40 or 50, and then he's the best defensive player or one of the best in the league and can do things that no one else can do, it is disrespectful. And for people not to talk about it more, I think it's only going to fuel him. He's a Finals MVP. He's multiple MVP winning. His team has won a championship without another All Star. What more does the guy have to do? If he started shooting threes, he would never lose. He would be the greatest of all time, maybe because of all his other intangibles. But I definitely think it's disrespectful because of everything he's done on his own, basically. That's impressive too.
This is what I'm gonna say about Giannis. I told you I was gonna say something shocking the other day, and it's not a bad thing. I remember I saw Giannis standing next to Shaq. He's not as thick as Shaq. He's the same height as Shaq. I'm just like, wow. Either Shaq's lying about his height, which his son exposed,
Hmm.
or Giannis is taller than we think he is, right? I'm like, this dude's the same height as Shaq. And he reminds me so much of Shaq. And I remember Shaq saying recently, he said something. He said Giannis is the best player in the league, or going to be the best player in the league. Despite all the accolades that Giannis has had, despite riding the bench like his first 2 years when he was like skinny like a twig, I think he's at 40% of what we think an NBA player should be. And that's the most impressive thing. Giannis is still so raw in so many areas. That's why I give him that low ranking. But that's actually a compliment because he's done this damage at 40% of what we think an NBA player can be.
Hmm.
He just powers through the lane. Imagine if he added finesse to his game, which he will. Once he adds a little more finesse, like Shaq did when he got to the Lakers, that's all Shaq used to do, just power through people back in the day. He was fast, big, strong.
Mm-hmm.
If once Giannis works on that feet work, the finesse game, he's working on the shooting now. He's going to move that percentage from maybe like 40% up to about 60 or 70%. His free throw shooting right now is in the 70s. If he can up that up another 10% into the 80s, his overall percentage would now be 70 or 80 as far as a basketball player. I think Giannis could possibly be, because he's not hurt a lot. And that helped LeBron James, because LeBron James didn't, until recently, didn't miss a lot of time. I think Giannis could be the biggest threat to LeBron James's numbers if he can play as long as LeBron James. I think he's going to be that type of player for the duration of his career, because each year he's going to get better. This dude is
Mm-hmm.
so fucking raw right now, and Milwaukee's done great with him. Don't get me wrong. They've done great with him. But just imagine if somebody like Pop had Giannis the mold, kind of like how he did with Kawhi, or if Miami, God knows we tried. If we had Giannis, what we could do. We have Giannis light right now, and bam, and we're bringing him along slow. But we don't have Giannis. Just imagine what those
Mm-hmm.
guys could do, in those systems with a player like Giannis. Oh God, I think LeBron's numbers are impressive, and right now there's no one kind of next in line that can challenge his numbers. But I think Giannis might be that guy to be like right behind LeBron James statistically
Mm-hmm.
in overall categories when his career is over with, because he's so raw right now. He can't do anything but get better. And that's what's so scary. And I think that's why people continue to shit on him. Yeah, Embiid has better footwork. Yeah, he does. Jokic has better footwork in the post,
Mm-hmm.
but Giannis has it. Embiid is ringless. Jokic is ringless.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis got that thing. He went out there and snatched the soul from the feet of and got that thing. And that's what's
Mm-hmm.
the most at 40% of an NBA player. I sent you a video where Kevin Durant dismissed him. Was like, don't compare me to that guy. Yeah, Kevin Durant, we know you got better footwork. We know you're the greatest shooter probably in the league. But Giannis got that thing though. You had to go to Golden State to get that thing.
Yep.
Giannis got it by himself. With all due
Mm-hmm.
respect to my team, Giannis looked at Miami and said, "Fuck you, I'm gonna do it without y'all," and that's what he did. And he
Mm-hmm.
he is really he is a generational talent. I'm not saying LeBron
Mm-hmm.
is out overshadowing him, because he kind of not, but Giannis is a generational talent, and I think as he progresses in his basketball skill level, the other players are gonna kind of turn around on him. I was really surprised that JJ didn't have him in the top three, because JJ knows basketball. I was really shocked by that. It's sexy to say Embiid, it's sexy to say Jokic, but I was really shocked by that JJ didn't have him up there. So yeah, crazy, right?
I mean, we think so, I guess.
It's crazy. No, Giannis is going to be that dude. Like I said, he's going to be probably number two behind LeBron in a lot of these statistical categories. So we got some Ben Simmons news. We haven't talked about him in a while, but we got some Ben Simmons news. So apparently he's going to challenge the Sixers for a portion of $20 million that they've withheld from him due to him not playing there at all this season. Now, I have to word this correctly. Um, he cited mental health as a reason to why he couldn't play, which then kind of forced the Sixers to put the money in escrow versus just not giving it to him directly. So like the money is in escrow, like they can't touch it, he can't touch it. Um, some people called it bullshit, saying he doesn't have mental health issues. He's just using that to try to get the money back, and now he's challenging them to get the money back, and it's going to have to go to arbitration. How do you feel about Giannis trying to get the $20 million that, let's just be real, he didn't deserve to get?
You mean Simmons?
Excuse
He
me,
said
Giannis. I'm
Giannis.
sorry. Excuse me, Giannis. We know you getting your money, bro.
Giannis deserves his money. Um, Look, Ben Simmons is a human being, so he's going to try to do everything in his power to get money. So I get that. But from someone who's on the outside and has to look in and judge this situation or give my opinion on it, I don't agree with it at all. You know my stance on Ben Simmons pretty much all year since last playoffs. I don't think he deserves any of that money. You've been playing in Philly. You've been playing in Philly for a while. Um, that's the kind of environment to where if you can't handle it, um, it could be a problem. Okay, but you've been playing there from the beginning. All right, if you're gonna have mental health problems, I just like it's not. I can't say I don't believe the guy or whatever, but I feel like he's the cause of all his problems, and so it's hard for me to feel sorry for that. I'm not calling him a liar or anything, but you played in Philly. You had some problems in the playoffs, and it snowballed. That might cause you mental distress, or it might, you know, affect you, but that's part of the job. Like,
Yeah.
you have to come in and deal with what your performance has created. You're the one that wouldn't score the ball. You're the one that passed. You're the one who created such a problem that your coach didn't know if he could win with you. If that causes you mental distress, that's on you. So I'm not going to sit here and say um, what he's saying isn't true, even if I don't care what he's talking about, because in my eyes, he's created all of it for himself.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think he deserves any of that money. If you play, you get your money. That's it. Like, to me. Um, but like I said, I'm not him. I get what he's doing. I just don't agree that he should get it. And I think he's the root of all his problems to begin with. So my opinion hasn't changed on him. He doesn't deserve that money. I get it, but he doesn't deserve it. Not in my eyes.
Yeah, per the CBA, which I read years ago, but per the CBA, even if he would have participated in practices with the Sixers, he would have been privy to the money. Like he would have got the money. But he didn't even want to practice with the team. Like he was half-assing it. So they're like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
Even something as small as practice, AI, he would have got this money. So
Mm-hmm.
you're right. He did do this to himself, and I'm actually proud of the Sixers to say we're just not going to hand this over to you. Like if you're going to get this money, we're going to have to go to the courts. Now I don't know because of the mental health issue. I don't know how the arbitrator is going to side, but I do think that the Sixers are doing the right thing by putting their foot down and like, nah, dude, this ain't cool. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially now that he's gone, it's just like you're on Brooklyn's books right now. We don't give a fuck about this
Yeah.
20 million. It's the principle at this point. And look, he's not even playing with Brooklyn because apparently a player who hasn't played all year has a back issue. What you doing, bro? This is just throwing it out there, okay? But yeah, I'm gonna be watching this closely because I want to see what the ruling's gonna be because this is the first
Mm-hmm.
time we've ever seen anything like this in my history of watching basketball, almost 30 years. I've never seen anything like this. So I'm gonna be watching this one closely to see how the arbitrator rules on this. But kudos to Philly, man, because they're just like they've played hardball with him from the jump. They're continuing to play
Mm-hmm.
hardball. I know they have other teams on their side because other teams are like, we can't have players just do shit like this. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm pro player. I'm always pro player. But this is it's basketball.
Yeah.
You
Exactly. It's a
played
game.
basketball. It's a game. You've played basketball your entire life. You put a fucking ball in a fucking hoop. It's basketball.
That's the kind of guy you want next to you if you have to go to war.
Bro, all I need is Udonis Haslam, Jimmy Butler, and Eric Spoelstra, and I'm good.
Or
I'm
the
good.
Jokic brothers in there.
Yeah, the Jokic brothers in there. Yeah, I'm good. That's literally all I need. Dude, Ben Simmons is a fucking pussy, bro. I can't wait till this season is over because I can't. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Hopefully, this is the last story we do on them. I can't. You're on the fucking Brooklyn Nets, so you won't play now. You got two of the best shooters in the world on your team, and you won't play now. I don't get it. Oh, it's
I don't.
Kevin Durant. Look,
I don't think many people really know what's going on there.
you know what makes Kevin Durant happy? Smoking and putting the fucking basketball through the hoop. All you have to do is pass him the ball.
That's it.
That's it.
His
You
back
got
hurts
Kyrie.
though.
You got Kyrie Irving. You know what he likes to do? Dribble and shoot. You don't even have to bring the ball up. Just pass it to Kyrie.
Play some defense once in a while.
That's it.
He can't though. His back hurts.
We could do that for $20 million.
His back hurts from all the stress that the 76ers caused him.
That's what it is.
Hmm.
It is the most unbelievable. I can't. I can't. I'm exhausted with Ben Simmons.
He's
Twenty
gonna milk
million,
this for a long time somehow.
$20 million for you to literally pass the ball and play defense. That's all you have to do. That's it. Speaking of the Sixers, your boy James Harden been going through some shooting slumps. I sent you some stats earlier.
Hmm.
I know some people have made jokes talking about his off the court stuff again. How concerned are you that James Harden isn't focused on basketball?
I'm not concerned. The Sixers should be concerned. At this point, like, I don't know. This was, like, in my eyes, like, kind of the final experiment. And if you still can't get him to come in and really, like, be like, I want to win a championship, and
Right,
that's where all my focus is going,
right.
then maybe your days of getting private jets flown out for you should be over with. When you're, like, as close as they were, and then they sent a private jet and stuff too. It was like kind of hilarious, but at this point, man, it's you got tons of talent. It's just something else is missing. You're like you just don't have the final thing that's going to push a team over the hump. Not anymore. I don't.
Hmm.
You just don't have what it takes. You're a great number two, maybe, but not really. Like at this point, you're like in my eyes, you're more of a third option for like a championship caliber team. And it's not like he can't score or facilitate or anything like that. It's a mental attitude in my eyes. Like, do
Hmm.
you want to take over? Do you want to make sure you guys are winning, or do you want to defer? And it seems like he wants to defer, or at
Right.
least it doesn't seem like he's not going through and taking the right actions to make sure he is the guy to make shots.
Hmm.
Because if that were the case, he would be taking better care of himself.
Yeah.
He hit his performances wouldn't be all over the place, um, and Philly would be playing better. So to me, I feel like finally, I know there's a lot of teams that have already done the Harden thing. They've been off that ship for a while. But I think there's a lot of people who really thought there was still something there, and I think after maybe next season could be slightly different, but I think after this, whatever we see from them in the playoffs, depending on how that goes, I think we finally start to see Harden's stock to fall over the course of the whole league. Like
Hmm.
he won't keep getting these kind of offers and these kind of positions. I don't feel like if this playoff run doesn't go well for him
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. He needs this. He needs this more than Embiid needs this. And because we know what Embiid is. We know he's been a MVP candidate all year, even though some people are still. I think we're going to be surprised. And we're not going to get into it today, but I really think there's a surprise coming with the MVP. I think they're going to dick your boy over. But um, their last, outside of last night's win, which you told me about. Sorry, I didn't watch basketball last night. Before that win, which was a good win for them, they were 5-5 in their last 10 games, which that's what got people kind of concerned. Um, and
Mhm.
they've actually they're now fourth in the East. They were first just a week and a half ago. Now
Yeah.
they've dropped to fourth. Um, so it got people paying attention. I'm gonna tell you something that I've never told you before. and it's, you know me, I don't lie. It's 1,000% true. I just never told it to you before. I used to work at a place that you met me at. We're not going to say the name of the place on here, but I used to work at a place, in the city that I met you at. There was a young lady that used to frequent frequent this place, and this young lady was a IG model for a time. She actually showed me her IG and showed me and another coworker some videos that she may have had. She
Mm.
also told me that for a time she was one of the women that James Harden would fly out to Houston, and me and her would talk basketball. And she knew some things about basketball that some women would not know about basketball. So I was like, me and my coworker, we were like, we really think this is true.
Mhm.
Okay. But she would tell me at the end of the day how he indulges. Basketball is like fourth or fifth on his indulging list.
Mhm.
Now, this was what, 6, 7, 8 years ago when me and you met at that particular job. I don't think it's changed. I absolutely think he's still doing the same shit that he was doing in Houston off the court. And it shows up on the court because on a Philadelphia 76er team where Joel Embiid is getting all the love and all the attention, and I'm talking about on the defensive end, you're wide ass open. You have to shoot better than 40%. You're motherfucking James Harden. You mean to tell me you can't hit an open shot? That, that's literally all you have to do. Is stand there and hit an open shot. Now, last night he did have 13 assists, which was good. That shows me you're not focused because you are a decent shooter. You should not be shooting that bad ever. There's something else distracting you. And you can't blame Brooklyn anymore.
Mhm.
You just can't. You really can't. So he needs to go into quote unquote playoff mode, which he's never done before because he's done absolutely shit in playoffs. He has to block out all the outside noise. And he has to be singular focused on winning a championship. And then I think James Harden will be the most devastating offensive player that we've seen in the playoffs. We haven't seen that from him yet. And I want to see that from him. Yes, he's one of the top 75 greatest players in the history of the league, but that championship is glaring. James Harden,
Mhm.
and let me be clear with what I say, because he has gone to the NBA Finals, but what he hasn't done is going to the NBA Finals as the guy. He was coming off the bench riding Kevin Durant
Mhm.
and riding Russell Westbrook. He didn't come in as the guy. He has to even be a number two to Embiid is better than what he was on that OKC run.
Right.
He has to be a top contributor to an NBA Finals team for me to finally take him serious.
Mhm.
We just saw Chris Paul do it last year. We just saw it. God
Mhm.
bless him, because he needed that. Well, yeah, James Harden, because you next in line. He's next. He has to at least get to the finals again as being one of the top two guys. But I can't take him serious right now. I cannot. It, it
Same.
it's baffling to me because he's so talented. But what's going to happen is because people kill Russell Westbrook. Oh, he couldn't play with this guy. He couldn't play with that guy. Well, now we can say the same thing about James Harden. He couldn't get it done with Chris Paul. He couldn't get it done with Westbrook. He couldn't get it done with Kyrie or Durant. And now we add Embiid to. I'm just saying.
Only Golden State could save him because they could just hide him. But
They could look. They could have saved Ben. They could have saved Ben Simmons. Shit. But I'm just. But
Ben Simmons doesn't even deserve it.
if he, it's not gonna happen. But
Mhm.
God, if he was to go, but if he could go to Golden State, I wouldn't even get on the court if I had to play them. Y'all got it. Y'all good. Just can you imagine the ball handling between him and Steph? Good God. Um, the last thing I want to say because we got a couple of more minutes to kill. I told you, I was watching the Heat and Chicago Bulls game. We both said the Bulls were going to be a good team. We thought they were going to be around 4 or 5. We didn't think that for the first half of the season they would be number one. We didn't think that.
Mhm.
The Chicago Bulls have yet to consistently beat the top teams in the NBA. And that kind of concerns me a little bit. They've dropped to 6 in the Eastern Conference right now. Toronto has moved ahead of them. The Toronto Raptors are 5th. They're in the
Mhm.
play-in last week. Okay, so Chicago's going to be a good team. All these teams are going to be a tough out, but I do believe when they were number one, it was a little bit of fool's gold because they don't have a definitive win, and that concerns me with them just a little bit. Give me some quick thoughts on Chicago.
Um, well, I would still consider the whole season a positive on the whole
Mhm.
because, like you said, they were so successful. They've missed Lonzo Ball for a while now, who added some consistency to their offense, but um, and they missed Levine for a while. And that dual scoring threat of Levine and DeRozan, and then plus just to have the chemistry of Lonzo Ball out there, um, I think it's hurt them, and the rest of the league has like kind of caught on to whatever it is they were doing. So I just think it's a combination of things that slowed them down. Next year that's gonna be dangerous. Next year with a year of continuity under their belt as
Mhm.
currently built. But yeah, they were pretty surprising to be so successful. Like the first half of the season, like they had. Um, but like I think a lot of that is DeRozan just catching fire for the first time, and then the team just working together. Um, it sucks that they've fallen off a little bit, but this is more, I think, a realistic spot of where they should be at. But now, if the team's healthy, um, it wouldn't be hard for them to catch fire again. So I don't really know. That's a tough question. But they're next year they're going to be even more dangerous. But I could see them as being one of the teams to get surprised early.
Yeah.
Like because another thing we haven't talked about much because we haven't had the reason to, but Atlanta has been getting some good wins
They were
lately.
actually going to be my next topic.
They beat Brooklyn last night.
Hmm.
Trae Young has been playing really well. So the East is set up in a way to where these teams are so close, they keep changing positions. Who knows? Even amongst like a week's worth of games, you don't know really what the playoff picture is going to be yet. I would not be surprised to see Atlanta again take out one of these teams in the first round, depending on who they get. And the
Hmm.
Bulls are maybe primed to be something like that. Toronto's been playing well; they could surprise someone in the first round too. It's going to be tough. Some of these really like the top East teams, all of them could get surprised outside of like I think Milwaukee and the Heat are the safest, but these other teams are so competitive. It's all the first rounds are going to be tough. I think all the first round matchups are going to be tough.
Hmm. Let me. I was going to bring up Atlanta, and we're going to end it with this today. So yesterday, I spent some time with my old crew from high school. Spent some time with them yesterday. We do it like once a year, and they're like, "So what's Miami going to do this year?" I said, "So we're going all the way. I'm not worried about anything." And then they brought up Brooklyn. They said, "Well, how are y'all going to deal with Brooklyn?" I said, "We're going to let Brooklyn eat." And I've said that before on this podcast. I said, "You let Durant get his, you let Kyrie get his, and you just worry about everyone else." And they're like, "Well, Cam, you can't do that because those guys will drop 80 on you a night." I said, "Yeah, you can, because what you can't do is double team one of those guys. Then your defense is switching and rotating all night, and then they're going to be worn down. You don't want to wear down your defense." So last night when I'm watching the Heat game, I'm watching the Atlanta score because I keep getting all these tweets. Kevin Durant's at 45. Kevin Durant's at 50. 53. I forgot what he ended up with.
Career high 55.
And they still fucking lost. They still lost. You can't let me pull up and see what Kyrie did. Because what you can't do is focus solely on two guys who you know are gonna score no matter what you do. They're gonna score. Um, One quick second. We know what Durant did. Oh God. Oh God. They're not going to be hot on the same night all the time. Kyrie Irving shot 32 shots and made only 12. That is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. Now, he did have 31 points, but that was off 3-point shooting because he made 7 threes.
Mm.
But Kevin Durant made 8 threes. So you mean to tell me between the two of them, they made 15 threes between two guys? You had one guy score 55, the other guy scored 31. I'm not great with math. They actually scored more than 80, and they still lost the game.
To
So I
Atlanta.
hope I hope my homies at home are watching this because this validates what I said. Let them two motherfuckers eat. You shut everybody else down, and you still have a shot. Because, like you said, to Atlanta, that's not the best defensive team in the league. It was a 122 to 115 final, but late in the fourth quarter, it was really close. It was like a 2 or 3 point game. They can't do that against Milwaukee. They can't do that against Miami. You can't. Kyrie Irving can't shoot 12 for 32 and have a close game against those two teams. Get the fuck out of here. So it that it's an old school mentality. Like back in the day, people couldn't guard Shaq. Okay, let Shaq eat.
Mm-hmm.
Let him eat. You don't have to worry about Kobe because Shaq eating the ball a lot takes shots away from Kobe. Just let him eat. Durant can score. Look, Kevin Durant can score as motherfucking most points as he wants. I don't care. We can shut down Kessler Edwards, Patty Mills, Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, Blake Griffin. Only played 6 minutes because they shitting on him. Them the guys you focus on.
Ben Simmons has to come back and be their number 3 option.
He would have to. And he
Mm-hmm.
would have to be a damn good number 3 for Brooklyn to do anything. But two guys aren't going to beat 5. This is not going to
Mm-hmm.
happen, especially when you have teams as deep as Milwaukee and Miami. So we're
Yeah.
gonna close it. We're gonna close it with that. I'm not taking shots at Brooklyn. I'm just saying this validated what I told my old crew yesterday. Let them boys eat. Shut everybody else down. The fucking Hawks, bro. The fucking Hawks.
Hey, don't shit on the Hawks though. They've been playing better.
They have. They have. So we're gonna wrap this up. You can follow us on all the socials, like all the fucking socials at Hardwood Nation. You know, just type in Hardwood Nation. All that shit's gonna come up. Thank you everybody, and stay safe.
See ya.